Hello, I'm Master Sergeant Melissa Rolland, and here's a quick look at what's coming up in this episode of Army Reserve Today. Conqueror, how an Army Reserve soldier overcame a debilitating disease and inspired others along the way. Yellow ribbon support, what one Army Reserve unit is doing to connect service members and their families with the resources they need during the deployment process. FORSCOM Marksmanship Competition, how the events set the standard and identify top marksmen in U.S. Forces Command. All of these stories and more ahead on this edition of Army Reserve Today. Hello and welcome to Army Reserve Today. I'm Master Sergeant Melissa Rolland. Thanks for joining us. We begin with our top story. Everyone faces life challenges, and how we face these obstacles defines us as individuals. U.S. Army Master Sergeant Valerie Ressanetti shares with us the story of one soldier who found a unique way to conquer a potentially debilitating disease and inspire others along the way.
I am a cyclist and track no-field competitor for Team Army. I've been in the Army Reserves for 9 years collectively. I'm an engineer, heavy equipment engineer. During the mobilization for Operation Enduring Freedom, I was increasingly sick. I couldn't hold my food down, and I was dropping weight really fast, and that's how I found out I had Graves' disease. I got into cycling when I was transferred to the WTB. Started at 10 miles, and it went from there. Now I'm competing for Team Army at the Warrior Games. It's crazy. Well, one thing that the Army provided me with as far as overcoming things such as Graves' disease was resiliency. Like, that skill set is, you can't do without it, because it allows you to focus on logic instead of emotion.
The challenge of being resilient is not just physical, it's mental as well, it's psychological. You have to build up your inner self, and Sergeant Pitts has demonstrated that by taking on other activities, finding mental stimulations, and that has helped him become resilient.
I really appreciate the Army actually shining light on resiliency and making it important to where I could have the skill sets mentally and mental agility to get through what I'm going through right now.
Whether you're the service member deploying or the family behind supporting, going through any deployment can be difficult. To make the process smoother, the 99th Regional Support Command recently held a yellow ribbon event connecting service members and their families to resources that help them throughout the deployment process. Sergeant Russell Tuff of the 99th RSC Public Affairs Office has the story.
Our purpose for being here is to offer different services to assist family members on soldiers that are going pre-deployment, and also soldiers that are post-deployment. When the soldier deploys, we want to make sure that the soldier is comfortable, they know that their family members are going to be taken care of, and by doing that, the soldier's in the right frame of mind when they go to do whatever mission and the location that they're going to. They're not worried about what's going on with their family members.
The One Source booth is insanely packed with a whole bunch of information and a whole bunch of stuff that's going to help her when she gets home. I just was in the commander's brief and FRG class, and I didn't know about the call home thing that they do. I think it's making me more comfortable to know that my wife is going to be looked after and taken care of while I'm gone and pushed way out of range. It's definitely something special, and I appreciate it.
Visit yellowribbon.mil for more information. Reporting from Oxon Hill, Maryland for the 99th Regional Support Command, I'm Russell Tuff.
An Army Reserve soldier from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, committed to helping soldiers with their careers, is the Army's 2016 Reserve Component Career Counselor of the Year. Major Kyle Key with U.S. Army Human Resources Command has more.
Each October, one Reserve Component non-commissioned officer is presented with the Excellence and Retention Award at the Association of the U.S. Army's annual meeting in Washington, D.C. Sergeant First Class Barbara Grimm, a Reserve Component Career Counselor stationed at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska, was named one of the top Army Career Counselors for 2016 and was presented with the Reserve Component Career Counselor of the Year award by the Chief of Staff of the Army and the Sergeant Major of the Army. Only a year into the job as a Reserve Component Career Counselor, Grimm knew her chances of making the cut were, well, grim.
I was in complete shock. I had some pretty stiff competition. Didn't think that I had won it.
Grimm was nominated at her installation and went on to USARPAC in Hawaii and on to the final competition at the DA level. The competition consisted of a packet application, written exam, a board interview, and a physical fitness test. Competition aside, Grimm says she gets a lot of satisfaction knowing that she's helping soldiers and improving readiness for the total Army force.
I get endless time to spend with soldiers. That's all I do. I get to counsel. I'm a social person. I like to sit and talk to soldiers, help guide them, brief them, and it's like the best parts of being an NCO. I get to sit there and say, these are things you could get, this is career progression, this is good for you, and help them fulfill some steps forward in their career and guide them through big major changes, and it can be very rewarding to be able to give someone exactly what they were looking for and have them excited to keep their uniform on.
Grimm is one of more than 150 Reserve Component Career Counselors and part of the Reserve Component Transition Branch with the U.S. Army Human Resources Command at Fort Knox. She and her team are responsible for helping retain approximately 11,000 qualified soldiers in the Army Reserves and National Guard, directly supporting readiness and saving the American taxpayer more than $900 million each year. So what's her secret to reaching the top?
Just read. That's the best thing that we can do. That's all we do as counselors. Everything's changing, everything's fluid. So every policy message that comes out, as tedious as it can be, just be as knowledgeable about it as you can, or at least know where you can find all the information that you need and keep it at your fingertips, and double check everything. Make sure you do it right the first time so that you don't have to fix the mistakes later.
Grimm admitted that being knowledgeable is only half the battle. It takes hard work and determination to accommodate both the soldier and the Reserve Component units. From the U.S. Army Human Resources Command at Fort Knox, Kentucky, I'm Major Kyle Key.
The Black Knights are more than a football team. They encompass Army values soldiers of all three Army components can relate to. Sergeant Thomas Moore with the 205th Press Camp Headquarters reports.
Being a soldier in the U.S. Army Reserve can often be a thankless job. Fortunately, on a few Saturdays a year, the West Point U.S. Army Black Knights football team provides something for the entire Army to cheer for. Army Reserve Colonel Brandy Peasley, commander of the 63rd Regional Support Special Troops Brigade, explains what this means to her.
West Point, right? They play for the whole Army. Being a soldier, whether you're active duty, reserve, National Guard, IMA, AGR, they're all the same.
Being more than just a football team, the Black Knights embody the core values of Army teamwork, giving active duty, reserve, and National Guard soldiers something to cheer about on Saturday.
Thank you, Sergeant Moore. We also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Black Knights on a historic win during the annual Army-Navy football game. Let's do it again next year. U.S. Army Reserve Major General A.C. Roper, Commanding General for the 80th Training Command, wears another very important hat. He serves as the Chief of Police for the Birmingham Police Department. Both positions requires a high degree of management ability, and he discusses the importance of goals and how the Army Reserve gave him leadership skills for success in both his military and civilian career.
Well, I think public service is what's made our nation so great. Through the years, we have had a generation of people who have put the needs of the country beyond themselves. As an Army Reserve soldier, I've lived a life of service to my country, and as a police officer, I've lived a life of service to my community. And I think those two have gone hand in hand. When I graduated high school, I wrote 3 goals down, and one was to join the Army, one was to be a police officer, and the third was about marriage. And so I've accomplished all 3 of those goals, and the Army Reserve enabled me to do the others so successfully. As an Army Reserve soldier, I was able to have a civilian career, and I was able to move in and out. I deployed to the first Gulf War, and then later I deployed to Afghanistan as a part of Operation Enduring Freedom. The skills that I learned as an Army Reserve leader, I'm able to apply to my law enforcement role. Well, as the police chief here in Birmingham, I have the honor of leading the largest municipal law enforcement agency in the state of Alabama. Birmingham is a growing city. I've seen it change through the years. This city has a strong history in the civil rights struggle. We were on the wrong side of history, but I can say we are not the same police department now. We are now a national model where we're helping to develop a national playbook for policing and race relations. And so we've built amazing partnerships over the course of my tenure. Working with our youth is very inspiring for me. We visit schools all the time to talk to our kids about making good decisions. These are amazing kids, and I'm just so appreciative that their parents trust us to help make a difference in their lives. Be a great student. Be a great student. And so the Army Reserve plays a role in that because the leadership skills I've learned there, I'm able to bring those skills back to this department. I can see the fingerprints of the Army Reserve all over my law enforcement career.
Stay with us. Army Reserve Today will be right back.
House fires often increase during the winter. Cozy fires, holiday cooking, and decorative candles can be accidents waiting to happen. Use metal fireplace screens to prevent sparks from igniting nearby objects like furniture. Don't leave cooking pans unattended. They can and do catch fire. Also, make sure you blow out candles before going to bed. House fires. Are you ready or not?
Winter is a popular time to go on vacations, but it's also a time people try activities they rarely do or might not have done at all.
Hey buddy, this is an advanced slope. Are you sure you're ready for this? Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good.
Winter sports can be great fun, but they're dangerous without proper training. Know your limits. Broken bones and bruises aren't fun. When you hit the slopes, will you be ready or not?
Winter storms can sometimes leave you snowed in for days, so it's important to be prepared. Have rock salt or other environmentally safe products to melt ice on walkways. You can also use sand to improve traction. Have a snow shovel or other snow removal equipment standing by. Store a good supply of dry, seasoned wood for your fireplace in the event you lose power. Also have adequate clothing and blankets to keep you warm. Winter storms. Are you ready or not?
Welcome back to Army Reserve Today. We now turn to a feature video by Staff Sergeant Jose Ibarra with Defense Media Activity highlighting winners of the 2016 U.S. Army Best Warrior Competition, NCO of the Year, and Soldier of the Year.
There were so many situations where change came about immediately. You have to be mentally resilient and realize that if you've got time left and you've got miles left to go, you need to keep your head and your body in the fight to finish that thing.
All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. The first place winner of the 2016 NCO of the Year Best Warrior Competition is Sergeant First Class Joshua A. Moeller, representing United States Army Reserve Command.
You never know how you're going to feel until you're there. And once I was there, it was a huge rush of positive emotions, happiness, excitement. What does it mean really to now be the Army's NCO of the Year?
So to be standing here right now with so many people's support behind me this whole way, and it's just been insane. The whole journey's been awesome. I'm totally a better person because of it. It's been a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time, but it's totally worth it.
The AUSA convention, especially the convention floor, is amazing. I'll take it. Thank you. Seriously, when can we get one of these at my unit?
AUSA has it going on. There is a ton of vendors here showing off tons of stuff. It's really cool to see the sort of technology that I hope is going to be fielded in the Army in the upcoming years.
Every day. To all the people that put on the AUSA conference this year and every single year, thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the heart of so many soldiers that are aware and those that even aren't aware. They truly are the voice here in our nation's capital for our Army, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Congratulations to the Best Warrior and NCO of the Year, Army Reserve Sergeant First Class Joshua Moeller, and Soldier of the Year, Army Specialist Robert Miller. Speaking of Best Warrior competition, the Army Reserve Medical Command's 2017 Best Warrior competition will take place at Fort Benning, Georgia in March of 2017. Command Sergeant Major Marlo Cross of the Army Reserve Medical Command tells how his command trains and prepares for the competition.
Hello, I'm Command Sergeant Major Marlo Cross, the AR MedCom Command Sergeant Major from the Army Reserve Medical Command. I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite times of year when we start ramping up for the Best Warrior competition here at Fort Benning, Georgia. I know your units are already preparing soldiers to get ready to come to this level competition, and I'm telling you, I can't wait to see all of you here. I can't wait to see our soldiers compete alongside the soldiers from the 3rd Medical Command and to congratulate the winners that will represent us at the U.S. Army Reserve Best Warrior competition. The Best Warrior competition might be one of the toughest things you have ever done in the Army, but bring your A game and it will be worth it. I guarantee it. This year, the Best Warrior competition will have more than 30 events to include drill and ceremony, land navigation, first aid, obstacle courses, and various mystery events. I'm confident our warrior medics will shine with every task they are presented with this competition. I want you all to know you're winners in my mind and in the Commanding General's mind. This competition is important, but it's important for you. Why? Because it shows character in our non-commissioned officer corps and within our soldiers. So start preparing your mind and body to come here to Fort Benning, Georgia in March and compete in the Best Warrior competition for the United States Army Reserve Medical Command. I'll see you all here in March at Fort Benning, Georgia. Come prepared. Can't stop, won't stop.
The FORSCOM Marksmanship Competition identifies the top marksmen within U.S. Army Forces Command. Shooting events there set the standard for how soldiers should train at their installations. Calvin Reimold of the U.S. Army Reserve Command Public Affairs Office and Staff Sergeant Renee Wilson with the 22nd Mobile Public Affairs Detachment highlight the competition.
As one of the core competencies in the Army, every soldier strives to improve their marksmanship. Some rise above and take their skills to competition. For 3 Army Reserve soldiers, this competition is slightly different than what they are accustomed to.
We're going to go in not knowing, we're going to get a quick brief, and it's the ability of the competitor to adapt and to game plan as fast as he can and then minimize mistakes. And the person that can do that consistently is going to be the one that wins.
They've kind of kept it under wraps pretty good. So to be able to go up to these matches and just like see the scenarios and you only have the 5-minute window and then go to shoot the match, I'm actually kind of excited to see how this turns out.
These soldiers, competing in the 2nd Annual U.S. Army Forces Command Marksmanship Competition, each specialize in one of 3 weapon systems: the M9 pistol, the M4 rifle, and the M249 squad automatic weapon. Over the course of 4 days, they were tested on a variety of scenarios designed to assess combat marksmanship.
It wasn't just black on white bullseye type shooting. It really sped up, and that's a good thing. And I think from as a subject matter expert for shooting, I'm a precision shooter. So I'm very slow and methodical and trying to shoot as straight as possible, and this makes you speed that up. And I think that was good.
Some of the things we've tried to get after is making this not just a traditional shooting competition. We've tried to get after the combat-related aspects that we as soldiers need to be prepared for and able to accomplish.
We want to test combat marksmanship, and we want to get troopers operating in the same conditions that they would be operating in combat.
This competition aims to drive marksmanship not just for elite shooters, but all the way down to the individual level. It stresses combat readiness with their weapons, instead of just shooting paper targets on a range.
So the great big thing here is not the outcome of this competition, but this competition driving competitions at the lower levels, making sure that we're doing that in our units and we're recognizing excellence. And we have soldiers that are striving to achieve excellence and become recognized.
For these 3, the knowledge they gain during these 4 days is invaluable. The ultimate goal is to take this information back to their units and train their soldiers to improve marksmanship all around.
And I think it's our job, actually, to disseminate that marksmanship information down. And as you had asked how it was received, very receptive. Everybody, I think, was happy. I was very approachable. I let them know that, even though I was kind of a higher rank than most people. And they came up to me, and I spent a lot of time working with them.
I'll be able to use it to help when I help train other soldiers. Use some of the experiences and techniques that I learned from the other competitors, and help spread that to the guys across the force.
From Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I'm Calvin Reimold.
Lock and clear.
Don't go away. Army Reserve Today will be right back.
What's a couple of shots I thought? None of us wanted to be the designated driver. So I thought I would just have a couple of drinks. No big deal. But it was a big deal. I drove off the road, hit a tree head on. I was in combat with these guys. Now they're dead, and I'm alive. And I have to live with that for the rest of my life.
My husband says I went a little overboard. Emergency flares, shovel, windshield scraper, toolkit, booster cables, blankets, first aid kit, and waterproof matches.
She packed everything but the kitchen sink.
Oh, and some waxing.
It's important to winterize your home. Have your heating system serviced professionally to make sure it's clean, working properly, and ventilated to the outside. Keep a safe, alternative heating source, such as a space heater or wooden stove. Have your fireplace and chimney inspected and clean. Install smoke and carbon monoxide detectors and test the batteries regularly. House safety. Are you ready or not?
Check out the genius not wearing her seatbelt. Yeah, that's me. Maybe car seats, youth restraints. Seatbelts have been a part of my entire life. But I didn't plan on being in a 5-car pileup. The last thing that went through my mind after I flew through the windshield was a tree I hit.
Welcome back to Army Reserve Today. What is an Army Reserve Personnel Action Center, or ARPAC, and what does it do for soldiers? Sergeant Russell Toth of the 99th Regional Support Command Public Affairs Office helps us discover the importance of an ARPAC and the services they offer.
An ARPAC is a Reserve Personnel Action Center. ARPACs were created to solve an issue that was identified with UAs. UA was particular to one unit. Larger units had a UAT, so they might have had 2 people. But if a UA went on leave for an extended period of time, the unit was kind of left high and dry. So the idea of the ARPAC was to have a team dedicated to a unit so they'd have consistent support. The ARPAC didn't replace UAs, because that's a really big misconception. ARPAC took over the admin section of the UA responsibility, so we do HR support, we do finance, and we do some medical readiness. Under HR, we do awards such as RCAMs and RFRAMs. We do records reviews, both personnel and financial, which are required once a year. We do ARB, which is an Army Record Brief, which replaced the ORB and ERB. We also do UMR management with assistance from the commands. For finance, we do pay, unit, individual, ADT, IDT orders. For medical readiness, we can provide printouts from MedPros that will give you the dates for when people need immunizations or PHAs. And then we can also, with the assistance of the command, once we have the signatures, initiate LODs. We provide support to company level units and then certain HHDs. Most of the units that the RPEC supports are located in the building with them. That's how the concept was designed, that they would be just down the hall. For those that are not within the building, each RSC has a homepage that will have the number of the supervisors for each location to contact in case they need them.
This year, the Randy Oler Memorial Operation Toy Drop at Fort Bragg, North Carolina celebrates its 19th year as the largest toy collection and donation program in the Army Reserve. The Army Reserve's U.S. Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command Airborne coordinates Operation Toy Drop each year, a massive undertaking that leaves paratroopers feeling good about helping kids out while earning foreign jump wings.
Army Reserve jump masters from throughout the United States came together to train at the 19th annual Operation Toy Drop. Operation Toy Drop allows soldiers to train and stay ready for airborne operations. Sergeant First Class Christopher Gauger, an Army reservist with the United States Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command, says the operation is good for soldiers.
I definitely think Toy Drop is an important event. It's a unique opportunity for American Army to train with foreign partners, and definitely keeps soldiers motivated and able to retain their jump training.
Warrant Officer 2 Tamago Batlatsi from the Botswana Army added that the exercise was good for our partner nations to train together.
I think it is very important to train together because we exchange experiences and we get some knowledge, and then we also help each other during this operation.
By training with other nations, not only do American paratroopers exchange Allied airborne operation techniques, but it also helps to build and strengthen relationships.
It's good to work with our foreign partners so we understand the cultural aspects, how they operate as a unit and a military. Great to work with them outside of an emergency or anything like that. So it's great to train with your foreign partners just to keep sharp and to understand how they do things.
Reporting from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I'm Army Sergeant Toby Cook. While the annual Operation Toy Drop at Fort Bragg, North Carolina is about airborne operations, it's the people behind the scenes that actually make it happen. Army Reserve soldiers with the United States Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command, Airborne, use Operation Toy Drop for one specific purpose.
So I think it's been a great opportunity, us as reservists, to get out here on Bragg and work with the active duty component. We've worked real close with USACAPOC. They've gave us a lot of freedom to customize our own training to make sure that we're hitting our tasks and really training the soldiers to what they're going to anticipate to see overseas. So I think it's been a huge opportunity for myself as a learning experience and these younger soldiers who have never worked at this large scale level.
That training is what keeps the Army Reserve soldiers at the top of their game. Operation Toy Drop is supporting the Army Reserve mission to build and deploy units that are trained, manned, and equipped to win the nation's wars. Reporting from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I'm Army Sergeant Toby Cook.
Sergeant First Class Randy Oler, a former Special Forces soldier and ranger, founded Toy Drop and Friends in 1998 right here at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. It was his idea to join together airborne operations, foreign military jump masters, and local charities to help support the event. Unfortunately, Oler died at age 43 in 2004 after he collapsed aboard a C-130 aircraft during a daytime parachute operation. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery, and Operation Toy Drop continues to be his legacy. Since 1998, paratroopers come from all over the world to participate each year and help make Operation Toy Drop a success. And that will do it for this episode of Army Reserve Today. For more information about the Army Reserve, check us out online at www.usar.army.mil, friend us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter at U.S. Army Reserve. From Fort Bragg, North Carolina and the U.S. Army Reserve Command, I'm Master Sergeant Melissa Rolland. Thanks for watching.